Welcome back to another episode of Black Girl Talk. I am Alicia, and I brought back Jaylen from, I forgot the episode number, but the episode is called "So Who's Cheating?"
Yes.
So before we even get into the topic of this episode, you gotta tell them your story.
My cheating scandal. Oh boy, I guess I'm gonna make this as short and simple to the point as I can make it. I was about like 17 and had a girlfriend, and people who have grown up with me knew I was pretty fucking lame when I was growing up. I had like no sense of identity. I had like a weird sense of style. I listened to like different music than everybody else, but I had a girlfriend who was really beautiful at the time. And I cheated on her, and when she asked me about it, dear fellas, if your woman asks you, did you do anything? 9 times out of 10, she knows what you did, so don't lie about it. But she asked me, and I lied. I lied so hard. It ain't work, but I lied, bro, because I wanted to keep her around. But yeah, that's my short, sweet, simple, and to the point. If you want the longer version, you go ahead and you tell Alicia that you want the longer version. I will ask her to dedicate an episode to the entire story. I swear.
Of cheating?
Of cheating. I will literally, or at least like a little 15-minute mini clip. I don't care. I'll do it. Like,
or we can do a fuck girl story. A fuck boy, fuck girl.
Yeah, that's cool.
Anyway, but with you, I feel like cheating stems from like past relationship trauma and like any overall relationship. Can you admit that cheating may have caused from trauma from your past?
Yes and no. When I was growing up, I mean, I had the traumas of being called ugly all the time. When I ended up being approached with a situation with not one girl wanting me, but 2 girls wanting me at the same time, like I didn't really know how to act. And that's just one thing. Like another thing was like I wasn't really taught how to take relationships because growing up, I didn't really see a functioning one. So that could also be I'd say that's also like another reason that stems from that, never really seeing a functional relationship in any sort of environment that I've been in.
So pretty much, I feel like a lot of people within our community, I feel like the way we love, especially within our generation now, I feel like it stems from past relationships and the trauma that comes from our family.
Mm.
I also feel like insecurity plays a part because for me, I have been in relationships where niggas ain't shit, but I have been cheated on twice, and it stemmed to me, made me feel like, and I think I'm a pretty strong female. Like I don't really care about insecurities. I don't pick at myself, but I started to have a lot of self-doubt, thinking like, what am I doing wrong to the point where these men are cheating on me? Like, what am I doing wrong to not keep them satisfied?
Right.
And then I feel like that stems from their past or whatever their little issues they had. Because I think I'm a good ass female, like I bring a lot to the table.
For sure.
Have you ever witnessed insecurities within your relationship or have past relationships done that to current relationships?
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Feel like I've displayed insecurities in my relationship, in my past relationships. And my partners have shown insecurities, and it's really not hard to work through your insecurities as long as you and your partner are working together and you guys are openly communicating. Communication really goes a long way, man, in a relationship. Talking about how you feel, why you feel the way you feel, or if a situation makes you mad or sad or whatever, and talking about that, it really goes a long way in flourishing relationships, especially with Black men and women. With Black men, we don't really like to talk a lot. We kind of we like to I'm good or I'm straight ourselves into this like fucking hole for some reason. We want to be this hard looking whatever, pause, this like hard looking like alpha
You just
male
gotta be the
figure.
tough guy, but it's just like we have emotions. Like, just it's not. It
Exactly.
don't matter if it's female or male. Like, and just overall as human beings, we have emotions.
Yeah.
And yes, a lot of like you black men, I think that stems for like everything goes back to trauma. It's just like we sit there, and mostly because the stereotype that we feel like men should always be the stronger person. You're not supposed to show no sign of weakness, but that's unhealthy for you guys. Most importantly, because like you have to express yourself or you guys is gonna blow up. Anybody who doesn't express themselves, like you're gonna blow up eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I have witnessed that myself and I'm
Yeah.
learning to how to let that go.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it is okay for men to cry sometimes. It's okay for even if you just want to express yourself, you ain't gotta cry. But you can express yourself to at least relieve any type of tension that you have built up on you.
Most definitely. I think that we need to start being honest with ourselves, and I think being somewhat vulnerable is not a bad thing, and we have to let go of this persona of not being able to show emotion or talk about our problems, because at the end of the day, man, what else are we going to do? Like, I don't know about you, and I don't know about the next black man around here, but I get tired of sitting down and thinking to myself, yeah, I got it. When in all actuality, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, So
That's me on a daily.
yeah,
I even caught myself in a relationships doing that sometimes. Like my last relationship, I literally we could sit here and argue. And it's not even me intentionally starting an argument. I had no reason to sit there and be like, oh, wanted to fight you. Like, I really don't be wanting to fight. I don't want to fight my partners. I don't want to do none of that.
right.
And that's the thing that gets annoying about arguing through text. It doesn't, how you may have sent that text does not translate into how you meant it when you sent it.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's irritating how like you'll sit there and go back and forth. You ask me to express myself and I express myself and it's not a good enough answer for you, or you don't believe me. So just like, then what the hell, bro? It's like, why would you ask me to express myself if it's not a good enough answer for you? So then automatically I'm gonna shut down.
right. And that's
And
not a good look, you know. That's
and
not a
then
good
it's
look
just
at all.
like it's my fault that we got into argument. It's like you can't take ownership into the issue as well. And it's just like, if I don't apologize right then and there or whatever, or like say, hey, let's move forward, we will not communicate, we will not speak for days on,
Mm-hmm.
because he will feel like he's not in the wrong.
And you know what? I will say that, for some men, they do try to initiate the communication and make sure that things are okay. And sometimes it's not met on the same hand in the other perspective or the other spectrum. And I definitely do think that's a problem. I think also another word for that is compromise. I think compromise is also a big thing. And
It is.
yeah, a huge thing in
If
relationships.
you are expecting to marry this person or see a future with this person, marriage plays a lot of part in compromising. But then before then, you have to kind of start compromising just in the dating phase, the relationship phase before marriage.
For sure. For sure.
And a lot of people are stuck in their own ways when it comes to that.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they are too selfish to
Mm-hmm.
sit here like, all right, if I can go this far, can you meet me halfway just to finish it off the race so we can continue on and move forward?
Right.
It's not a bad thing to compromise if you truly love that person.
Not at all. Not at all. I and that's it can't just be one world, It has to.
It's not a one-way street. A relationship
Exactly.
is never a one-way street. And I feel like with the lack of compromising and communication, that will bring a lot of hardships
Mm-hmm.
into the relationship, to where now it's just like you got the relationship, you and your partner pretty much got yourself in a relationship to the point where now it's just like, how do you get through these things? Like, how can you get over these hardships, these hard times, just so you can survive and hopefully the relationship will stay together.
Yeah, for sure. I really see that being a big problem in everybody's relationships right now. And it's not anything to change, those problems. It's, just working together, man, and compromising and listening to each other is such a healthy thing in a relationship. And it's also really, really, it's like a breath of fresh air, being in something like that, knowing that somebody's going to listen and work with you in order to make sure that everything works for you. I think that's amazing. when I hear things like that. Um, so I definitely agree with everything you're saying. I really do.
Now, this is where the tricky part. We got to like the end of the relationship, right? Like we got to like the whole process, maybe 2 to 3 years into the relationship type of issues, right? What crazy thing about it is how a lot of people get into these situations now to where like you see the relationship change, the insecurity, the compromises, the hardships, the traumas. It's like, oh, the honeymoon phase. Like a lot of people, I have yet to see any relationship that's still in their honeymoon phases, and the ones I do see are the older generation.
Right.
And I always ask people who've been married for like over multiple decades, and they always said that they married their best friend.
Yeah.
I feel like every relationship should start off with that foundation of a friendship. Like, you should always be friends, and then sometimes, yeah, maybe you admit that you caught feelings in the end, but even through that whole process, you should still be able to communicate as friends, because some people, God bless that relationship, even when things don't work out, they still got that friend in the end.
Right. The honeymoon phase is a very man, like, dude, the honeymoon phase is so deadly. And I said this last time. I remember we had this conversation before, man. I was like, the honeymoon phase is so deadly, bro, because when it ends abruptly. Like it just crashes and you don't ever see it coming. And the thing is, transitioning out of the honeymoon phase into being into a state of, I guess you could say, the normalcy of a relationship at that point.
But do you have to transition out of a honeymoon
No,
phase?
no. I mean, eventually, I think every relationship, for sure, you have to transition. But I think in order to make sure that that happiness with each other doesn't go away, you need to keep dating each other. You need to, yeah.
Yes.
Like, I think, like, that needs to be a thing. You need to always figure out the reasons why you fell in love in the first place, and to keep those reasons going. Just because we're older, and we're not as we don't do the same things anymore, man. There can be traditions, like with my girlfriend before COVID, like way before COVID. We had this thing called Weird Movie Fridays. You know, we would go to Cedar and Lee Theater and pick out the weirdest movie imaginable, and we go and watch it, and it would be so much fun for us both, because it was something that we both love to do with each other, and we never really stopped that. We found happiness and joy within doing that with each other. And it was one of the reasons why our relationship kind of stayed afloat a little bit. It's always, and you always want to hold on to the little things, you know the little
Mm-hmm.
things also.
And a lot of people don't appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like, it's really the like for well, I know certain women's,
Certain
yes,
women's.
women, yes, some of them, some women are trash.
Yeah.
And they like the finer things when it comes to relationship, and then those type of bitches. It makes it hard for females like me who really appreciate the little things. Like, I like to be able to just be able to lay down next to you. We can be completely silent next to each other or whatever on our phones, and then we look at each other and smile. Like, everything is still okay. Like, everything is just totally
Right.
fine. I like to be able to like wake up to text messages like, oh, like, tell me like the little things that makes you like that pop into your head that made you think of me, you know. Even in my old relationships, like, I know it was only like a year and a half, and a lot of things can change within a year and a half. I know it's like the testing phase. Like, I know like the first year is kind of just like the feet in the water to see where it really gonna go, but even within 6 months, things started to change, and like I will randomly would send out text messages like, "Yo, and I love you because of this and that or whatever." I would sit there and ask why. Now, I'm not an insecure female. Now, I do have trust issues, and I like to be reassured.
Yeah.
I like to be reassured because I have a lot of it's not even the past relationships, like love relationships. It comes from trauma within my past childhood and stuff like that. So me asking to be reassured, it's just letting me know that, okay, like, our feelings are still intact. Like, we still feel the same way about one another. And sometimes you guys don't really express how you feel about us sometimes. So it's like, we just want to know, like, are you okay? Because that's we're the niggas. Sometimes you guys do shut down, and you shut down in ways that we can't really fix
Right.
it. Which that brings another bitch involved, and that's when people start catching cases and everybody got to get their ass
Mm-hmm.
beat.
I was thinking to myself, I think I told you this, that I have been studying older generations of couples and marriage and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And how, when I said they never stopped dating each other, about like the little thing, I could bring up an example that one couple, every third Wednesday of every month, her husband would bring her flowers,
Oh,
and it was a pattern every time, and it was something that she was used to. She would look forward to every third Wednesday of every month, because she knew flowers were coming. With another couple, date night, you know uh in my relationships, I before I leave, I give my girlfriend a kiss and then three extra kisses before I leave. That's It's a pattern, and it's the little things with her that. And another thing also is falling in love with your partner's love language as well, you know
that's what people got to start learning to do, is to learn their love language, so where they can at least communicate that and express
mm-hmm.
that. I know my love language is quality time, and that's why I'm not too big on like going on dates or like doing some extra stuff. Like, as long as you're breathing in my face, I'm totally happy with that. Okay, if you're snoring in my ear, I'll take that over not being around each other. And then my second love language is, I believe, is physical
Yeah.
touch. And I have noticed that, like, I will literally grab his face just out of the blue or whatever, just caress his lip with my thumb or something like that. Like, I just always have to touch him. It's just like, in order for me to sleep, like, I need your hand on me or what, or something.
Right. That's definitely, I can say for myself, physical touch and words of affirmation really go a long way for me in terms of my love languages. And like I said, growing up, dude, I got told I was ugly, I was this, that, and the third. I wasn't good enough for certain things, man. And those are traumatic instances, but I also found my love language
It
off of it,
is.
you know?
Because certain things at certain point, like, I can admit it was reversed for me growing up. Because and everybody else know, if you've been tuning in, I'm openly, I tell the truth. Like, one of the first facts I always tell is, like, I lost my dad when I was
Mm.
younger. So to lose that figure in my life who sat there, express his love for me, express how you feel. This man told me every single day he would pray over me. Wake up, I would be so grumpy, he just start praying over me. And he always said how much he always wanted a girl, and it's just like, you miss those type of things, growing up, and then boom, you lose that person to turn around to be left with the person who just
Yeah.
shits on you, to like make fun of your looks, how you're not gonna achieve this in life, like, you just get shitted on. So it's just like, well, damn, that stuff, like you said, that kind of trauma effectuates you as you're growing up, to where now you have to learn a lot of these things. You have to learn genuine love on your
Mm-hmm.
own,
Yeah.
because not everybody's blessed to be raised on love. A lot of us was raised
Oh,
on
for
survival.
sure, man. Especially growing in poverty, bro. Like, growing up in poverty, bro, you learn a lot of different things about yourself.
I have one
Yes,
question with
ma'am.
you. I feel like I have asked you this before.
Mm.
I don't know. You probably did, but you told me you probably didn't finish it. Did you listen to
Yeah,
Dear Black King?
I did. I did. I've
How did that
I've
make you feel?
reiterated with this. I've told you how I felt about this, and I'll tell you again, man. Because I'm a I am a black man that grew up with a single mom. I have mommy issues and daddy issues out the ass.
I didn't mean to
It's
laugh, but it's
okay,
just
bro.
like,
Like,
you hear daddy issues a lot, but then mommy
yeah,
issues is
man.
like,
And
huh?
it's so
But it's
like, you're
real.
like, mommy is like, nah, dude. I grew up with mommy and daddy issues, bro. Like, growing up, man, I always felt alone a lot, like more than I should have. And to listen to that, I will tell you time and time again, bro, it feels like somebody gave a fuck. Somebody heard me. Somebody looked at me. Especially in my grungy teenage phase where all I listened to was fucking heavy metal and shit. It was like,
I will
bro,
never
we never
forget
will.
that,
We
Jaylen.
never will. But it felt like somebody was looking at me as a black man and still appreciating me for who I was and how I was. and loving me, and it's I'm not gonna get emotional. But
Too late.
it's man, we've seen so much. Like we've seen so much, man. As a black man, bro, I see my brothers getting gunned down on camera a lot, and it's traumatic in my instance, bro, because you sit down and you wonder, like, damn, like, yeah,
Am I
bro, like you
next?
really sit down, like, fuck, am I gonna die next, bro? And it really makes you think, like, even if it's not police brutality, bro, like we're getting gunned down by our own, and it also
Mm-hmm.
makes you wonder, like, damn, am I next in that? So to hear that made me feel like somebody appreciated me, loved me, cared for me, and gave a fuck about me, and I really wish that growing up I got told that a lot more often. Maybe I would have had a lot more confidence, like a lot more. I would have had the sense of me being, in other words, the shit, Now, I can't say that changes anything for me, but it means a lot to know that somebody somewhere, a black woman in general, really gives a fuck about me and my existence. So I never say it, bro, but I really appreciate you for making that, And as a
Thank
black
you.
man, bro, I hope other black men can appreciate it as well. Cause black men like me, bro, like, bro, like my hero was Donald Glover, bro. Like Donald Glover and LeBron James are my fucking heroes, bro. Like, so that made me feel like I could be my own hero for a second. So I appreciate that more than you know. So thank you so much for making me feel that way.
Cause ain't nobody else gonna love you but like a black
Exactly,
woman.
exactly. Are
Okay.
you fucking crying?
No, no, I know. We're good.
About to
We're
say,
good.
bro, like,
We're
don't do
good.
that. Like,
Um,
don't do that.
I have minor tears, but it ain't like
Yeah.
like I got
No,
under
bro. I
control.
mean, this is a place. I really
Um,
feel like Black Girl Talk is a place for me to be real about myself and be honest. And, for your viewers to listen, if they want to know anything, I'm very happy to give it. I feel like this is like a open space, so.
I want that. That's the goal. Because initially, when I first started, it was real friends,
Mm-hmm,
real talk. So I didn't heard people tell me whenever they listen, they seem like they, especially when I have a guest on the episode, they feel like they're sitting there with their homies listening to a
mm-hmm,
conversation. Like they're able to add, like tap in, but they can't really tap in because it's just like we can't like they're not
mm-hmm.
recording with us. But I always the thing about it is, and you know me, you pretty much watch me grow into the person I am today. I can't sugarcoat shit. So just like no one, I'm not knocking down nobody else's podcast, whatever. But like I feel like I could just bring the realness out of people, and I could just be genuine and real or something. Like some like oh I was thinking about it, but she said it, so I'm gonna rock with her because
Mm-hmm.
she said it. We
Mm-hmm.
did not give a fuck. My question to you: do you feel like between a black woman and black man and with our community, we lack the value of black love?
Oh, yeah, a little bit. I feel like black men don't respect black women enough. Um, and I feel like that's the reasoning for our lack of black love in our community. I feel like we don't appreciate black women the way that we should. Um,
You guys, I can't lie, you guys definitely do not
we
protect us
we
the way
don't.
you should either.
As a matter of fact, sometimes we're the one inflicting the damage, and I cannot stress enough, bro, like how idiotic and frustrating it is to see that, knowing that I come from a black woman. So, and
Mm-hmm.
that's just, it's just like, man, like when you hear all these things, you get mad at black women saying niggas ain't shit, you know, and we're not shit, but
My brother, my actual blood brother, because Jaylen is pretty much like my brother myself, but like I'm talking about like blood, actual brothers. he, this is before we got to that one relationship that just fucked up everything. I mean, it didn't fuck up everything for me. It put me on the spot in high school, but it was like months. It was like a month before I met that man or whatever. He was just like, I was asking for dating advice because it's getting to the point where, like, in my high school year, like, I'm getting to the point where it's like, at some point, I'm gonna have a little boyfriend or whatever. And he was just like, don't do it. He's like, man ain't shit. He's like, I'm not shit. I was just like, well, then.
If
That
man,
doesn't
if
help
you
me.
as a man can sit down, bro, and say like, bro, I'm not shit. Like, if I'm not shit, I can tell you other men out here are worse than me. Like, and it sucks to say, bro, 'cause it's true. Like,
but at the same time, like, we don't protect you guys either. A lot of women, I do my best not to speak down on you men. It takes a lot for me to even try to trash talk a guy. Like, you really got to piss me off. Like, you really got to hurt me in order for me to call
right.
you a bitch, But even after you hurt me, I sit there and try to praise you. But yo, you still got to keep it going. Like, you still got to do
Right,
something with
right.
your life. Okay.
Um,
I mean, we just have to protect and really love one another genuinely.
yeah,
Despise our
for sure,
differences.
for sure. I do think the whole niggas ain't shit thing, and then it transitioning to being like black men are the weakest links.
Bitches
I
ain't
mean,
shit.
listen, some of you niggas make us the weakest links possible.
Knowing you, I know there's some question that you have to ask deep down inside, because whether it's the podcast or not, every time we talk or catch up, you guys always got to ask me a question. Either it's my love life or just a question that's just been, you just need to answer it for comfort for yourself.
Yeah.
So go ahead and hit me with that.
Man, what do I want to ask you? Um, how do you feel about black men and mental health? That's a good question. Yeah,
How about black people and mental health
that's a good
overall?
question.
But no, honestly, we can get to
Yes.
that on another topic. But black men, like I said earlier in the episode, you guys sit there and act head honcho. You suppress it. You I feel like, man, you black men suppress the most out of all races, just so you can make sure your family's good, because it's that role, like just that political role for a man to sit here and act like there's no issues with him. You're totally fine. You have to provide, you have to stand strong
Mm-hmm.
for your family. At the same time, like, we have to check on each other, but mostly have to check on our men, because you guys take on the most workload, honestly. And I like, even with me, sometimes I have to make sure, like, I always ask my brother, like, are you good? Sometimes I'd be scared because, like, I don't know how to, like, I try to be careful with my words because I don't want to trigger. Like, I learn how to, like, you got to learn how to communicate, or you will trigger somebody with not initially thinking to do it. I feel like everybody should at least seek some type of help. Like, honestly, I even did, like, my own first therapy session myself, and
I'm
I
glad
felt
you
way
did that.
relief
I'm glad you
after
did
that.
that. It is never wrong to admit that you need help. It's never wrong. Never wrong.
And it's okay sometimes, like, we can only go so far with the Bible and, like, how God's going to bless us in the end. But I never question his ways. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's okay to seek a little farther help. It's okay to reach out to somebody, but, like, yo, you know what, I just need to vent and let this
Mm-hmm.
off my
So
chest.
I guess I have one more question for you, and I've been thinking about this. I remember I was having a conversation with John, and I think this was the last police brutality shooting of a black man that got caught on camera. And I was sitting down with John, and as I looked at it after the video was over, I'm seeing all these responses from black women: protect our black men, this, that, and the third. Sat down. I looked at John. I'm like, John, I don't think black women actually care. Like, I don't think they care until we're dying to really give a fuck. And with that statement, I really want to know your stance on that. Even though you made Dear Black King, how do you feel on that statement in general? Do you feel like that's a wrong statement, or do you feel like it kind of resonates?
Everybody,
No,
it
for
doesn't
sure, no.
resonate with me
For
for
sure,
sure. Like,
no.
fuck that shit. But everybody's entitled to their own opinion. When you look at it, at some point, we really do be giving a damn. But at one point, that's not being returned, we kind of do stop caring. But it takes, if you look at all the protesting that has gone on, I have yet to see a protest besides Brianna. I have yet to see a protest where women have not stand for their men, like have not stand for no one, has used their voice to protect future black men, even after we lose a black man. I don't see that same energy when we lose black women. And sadly, it takes to lose something like that for us to use our voice. Overall, I think we do care. We have to care because just like at the end of the day, it's the reality of the world that we live in. Sadly, we can literally wake up one day and it could be our brother, it could be our father, it could be our grandfather, it could be your cousin, sons. Like, it's a worry. I think women do care because we rise up every time a black man die, but I don't see that same energy
Okay.
when a black woman
Right.
dies.
I guess you were definitely correct about that one. I just wish that us as black men would stop being so violent with each other. You know, I wish we would embrace one another a lot more, be more friendly toward each other. I feel like we would ease up a lot more, and it's not fucking weird to be friendly with each other, bro. Like I do think that if we were a lot more open with each other, man, it would do us some good, you know. It sometimes feels like for me, a nerdy black kid, I felt like I never really belonged anywhere. Like in this situation where you're too, I guess you could say, too white for black people, but too black for white
Mm-hmm.
people. So you were definitely in the middle. And I'm not even, it wasn't about skin complexion. It was just about personality. How do you feel about that type of stance for people that feel like they don't really belong, that are black, but feel like they're not black enough?
I didn't
Yeah.
spend 2 years. I even have an episode about this. I literally said black enough, still black. I spent 2 years, literally, jokingly or not, that you guys were joking or messing with me and not there about saying how, like, oh, I couldn't say nigga because I wasn't black enough or I didn't look black enough for you guys. I spent 2 years dealing with that shit. This is at the coming out of high school. 2 years. My friends, close friends that I would have thought were my friends. I mean, some of them I kind of have this little distance in our friendship now. I spent 2 years with you guys in there doing that bullshit with me, saying that I wasn't black enough, I couldn't do this and that or whatever because I wasn't black enough. Oh, you sit there and kept throwing the white race on me because I
Mm-hmm.
lacked the melanin in me. But yet my hair is more
Mm-hmm.
nappier than you guys. My features a little bit more broader than you guys. Some of them my features are broader. And I'm just looking like, okay, because my skin complexion is not dark enough for you, but what
Right.
about everything else around me? That's when I start educating myself. That's when I start learning. At least I know my background. That's the one thing tops on everybody. I knew where the fuck my family came from. I knew my family history because you
Mm-hmm.
couldn't tell me otherwise. And my the white shit, that white race that y'all keep throwing in my face, that is recessive, sweetheart. And only way that's gonna get triggered if I have kids with another light skinned person that has white in them, or if I sleep with a white man. And we all know I am never touching a white man. If you see me with a white man, I'm with the Illuminati, okay? Um
You've been held hostage and brain got switched out.
I didn't sell
You're in the
myself to the
sunken
devil.
place.
Now I'm
That's
with a
what it
white
is.
man. I even have myself called, a lot of my fellow sisters Oreos because they act a little. They just weren't more proper and educated, very highly educated, and all like that. And I had to learn that to stop doing that because that doesn't help our community itself. Like at the end of the day, oh, just because someone talks proper or has a higher education and just carries themselves very well does not diminish or
Oof.
deny their blackness. And I had to
Oof,
learn.
man,
I
I
learned
wish
that
I learned
myself as
that
well.
growing up because I did not, bro. I always thought like I was outcasted. Man, I really thought like, dude, maybe black people just don't fucking like me. Like that was always a thought in my head.
Well, like I said, that goes back to the
Hmm.
lack of value of black
For
love
sure,
within our community,
for
within
sure.
our own people. One thing I want to say is, Jaylen, I love you for the moon and back. You have been in my life and stayed grounded and been a real one since I've moved to Shaker. And you really has been like the big brother.
I appreciate I appreciate that so much, man. It means a lot to me, man. I've all I want to do is make a difference. I want to be everything to the black community. I want to be important. I want to be worth something. So when people tell me, "So,
And you
man,"
will.
I hope so,
And you
man.
will. We will, and we will. We just gotta keep working on it and get the recognition and
For
actually let
sure.
our actions speak for us. But one thing for sure, once again, Jaylen, thank you for always. I just
Oh
know I
yeah,
can always
man.
call on
You
you to
know,
do
when I'm
episodes for
not
sure.
when I'm not, off my ass. Yeah. Like
But once again, my name is Alicia, and that's Real Talk.